I guess it's a lot more exciting and kind of enjoyable than I thought it would be from kind of school.
It's overwhelming at times, but actually it's also great fun.
You learn something new every day, and you usually use it the next day, and you get cake every Tuesday.
It can be quite exciting, and you can kind of really get involved in the work. So it kind of suits me quite well, I think.
It's also really fulfilling having created something that works. It's absolutely fantastic that it works and that you've got something you can be really proud of and that you've gone somewhere no one has ever gone before.
Officially, I'm an engineer, but particularly in research, the boundaries get quite blurred between those two. I actually started out wanting to design Aston Martins, and it was my art teacher that got me into engineering.
So when I was a kid, I watched a lot of sci-fi, and I quite fancied working in a lab, wearing a white coat, wearing goggles.
When I was younger, what I used to do all the time was, if you left anything lying around my house that could be taken apart, that was it. TV control, radios. It was always me coming along with a screwdriver, taking them apart, finding out what's in them.
I was very fortunate at school. I had a lot of great science teachers, Mr. Bancroft and Mr. Roberts for physics, and Mr. Harris and Mr. Skilling for chemistry, who really knew their subject and could communicate that with enthusiasm to me.
The starting point of any scientist really is just looking at something and thinking, what's in there? And having a look.
For me, there are several really good things about being a scientist. I don't have to sit at a desk all day looking at a computer. Get to work in various labs and on my feet a bit as well, a bit of variation.
Just creating something and then having that pride in having something that's just great.
I get to use my brain to solve problems and be creative as part of my job, and most of my friends think I have a really cool job.
I think nowadays we take for granted a lot of the work that the original kind of communication pioneers did, people like Marconi, and kind of computer pioneers like Turing. And if we could go back and probably tell them the effect that they actually have, you know, I don't think they'd be able to believe kind of the level that we're at now and where we may be in the, you know, in the not too distant future.
Well, I'd quite like to meet someone who's not just a scientist but a bit of a polymath, Leonardo da Vinci. So all those machines in his sketchbooks, I'd like to know, did they really work? Was he able to test them out?
My favourite hobby is dancing, swing, salsa and ballroom.
In my free time, I kind of spend my time doing things like, you know, I'm in a band and we kind of write and record.
I make music, I go cycling, and I drink overpriced beer.
What I like to do is get out on my bike, go on some long cycle rides, and that just about makes up for all the winter months sat in my kitchen cooking, just eating it all.
The first science I remember doing was trying to work out the most efficient way of getting to school so that I could lie in bed for longer in the mornings. I think I was about 7.
When I was at school, I used to have these really highly powerful magnets, and I got in trouble once because I was throwing them at the window, because underneath the window there was this kind of iron frame, and I was seeing how far away from the window I could go and the magnets would still stick. But I didn't realise that the headmistress and all the teachers were having a kind of weekly meeting inside.
It was actually dissecting an eyeball, a cow's eyeball at primary school. It was absolutely disgusting, but once you got over that, I found it absolutely fascinating.
So I think that was the first time I got properly in trouble.
I think it's absolutely vital to keep hold of that first feeling of curiosity and excitement, to recognise there is going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of maths possibly involved in solving the problem, but yeah, you really have to keep hold of why you're interested in that problem, why you want to solve it.
Read, read, and read.
I would advise them to go to their local science museum, as there you get a whole entire wide range of science in one go. And it's really presented in a really fun way. Even I still like going down to the Science Museum in Kensington and playing on all the exhibits. It's quite fun.
When I was doing my PhD, I had to go to the abattoir regularly to collect tissue samples and pieces of animal tissue for my experiments, which is quite disgusting, you would think. It was actually not as bad as you would imagine.
I once accidentally dissolved a fake breast in a tank of water, which caused quite a bit of a mess.
got to cut some of the pieces out of the animal myself, so you get pretty close to it. It's quite interesting to see how an animal goes together.
I'd probably have to say the computer.
I think light bulbs are a very good invention, a very useful thing.
Glasses.
And even the original computers, they couldn't do very much, but they were the size of a room. In the right hands, they were just top pieces of equipment.
In the Middle Ages, because without them I can't see a thing, in the Middle Ages I'd have been branded an idiot. I would have been the village idiot, and I probably wouldn't have lived past 15 years old, frankly.
In terms of modern inventions, I use my smartphone all the time. It's really useful.
So thank you, whoever invented these.
I think the most important thing that we haven't yet discovered is probably a long-term, clean, efficient, renewable energy source. And if we can't have that, I'd quite like to discover intelligent life on another planet.